Did you know that I have a Patreon page? If you want extra content, you can subscribe to my Patreon to see videos that will never be uploaded to YouTube, like this, and this, and this one here.
Wow!
My Patreon account also features brand new types of content like behind the scenes and hot takes. Patrons are also the first people notified of any changes to my schedule. Go to the first link in the description if you want even more content.
I just switched my tune and I made a note I'm up. Never gonna lose and I turn you into dust. Walk up in the room and I see they acting sus. Put them in a tune and I turn up into dust. Shut off and I zoom, I ain't scared you one of us. Go and grab a broom cause I turn them into dust. I just see it through and they never do enough. Breathing in the fumes, turning up it is a must.
Office Christmas parties. And really only because of the half-baked movies and sitcom episodes they inspire.
Which has nothing to do with this episode, so you're sending it because, reasons?
So I'm already irritated about the future conversation surrounding whether or not The Boys is a Christmas show.
It's not. End of story.
Easy, Tiger. I want you on the A game.
Assuming a man can't be on their A game because they drank too much alcohol. And while you're probably right, it still hurts our feelings.
Was that meant to be a joke? I mean, it wasn't even remotely funny, so it's hard to be sure, but it also wasn't a legitimate critique, so I'm just kinda confused.
Homelander's busy saving lives.
Which is interesting considering we've already seen at least 4 of the 7 at this Christmas party not saving any lives. I'm not saying they can't have time off, but isn't it a little irresponsible to have 3 superheroes and the Deep off duty at the same time?
Discount Jeremy thinks that Vought actually cares about saving as many lives as possible, as opposed to, oh, I don't know, money?
Man, Huey didn't learn a single thing from Seth's cautionary tale, did he?
Seth was having sex with an ice-powered superhero while Huey is having sex with a light-powered superhero. There's nothing inherently dangerous about glowing eyes.
After Robin programming other people's remotes, it felt kind of pointless.
Yeah, but most people don't require a live-action pureeing of their partner to realize this.
It's called a job, Aaron. Do you not understand that concept? Also, I'm fairly sure that was supposed to be funny, but it wasn't. So add TVSins, please.
Have a hero like you in a place like Sandusky?
Yay, we're carrying on with the Deep's very shallow B-plot. So glad we're doing this instead of spending more time with Frenchie, Kimiko, Queen Maeve, Black Noir, or, you know, just making these episodes 10 minutes shorter.
Okay, whether or not you enjoy the Deep's plotline is entirely subjective, but the point of it is to hammer home the satirical nature of the show while also following a man's journey in realizing all the wrong he's done. My point is that sending it because you don't like it is dumb because that's completely subjective.
Also, I've never understood why these soups just stay in their costumes 24/7. I get they don't really have secret identities, but they do own other clothing, right?
The answer to this is something you'd have to glean from the subtext of the show, which is something that the TVSins writers have never been able to do with any show. Vought essentially created and raised most of the members in the Seven, and a lot of their other soups, which has led to them basically having very little self-identity outside of their powers and the brand. Keeping the suits on constantly is the show's way of visually communicating this to the audience.
The more I see it, the angrier I get. Stop showing us people vomiting, especially with zero f***ing warning, you low-hanging fruit-grabbing rat bastard biscuits.
This is ironic, seeing as watching a TVSins video is basically like watching Discount Jeremy vomit all over YouTube.
Not you, Noir. You've been great.
Having a character telling us another character is doing great work, even though we, as the viewers, have seen none of that great work being done. We get 37 subplots about how creepy the Deep is, but so far we get none of the noir kicking-ass goodness that I'm so here for.
Right, because that comes into play more in the next 2 seasons and isn't really important for now.
I just can't help noticing that it all started when you came along. If you were in my position, what would you do to you?
I'm sure there's nothing Homelander enjoys more than swinging his around, but what good does exposing Starlight do right now? If he thinks she's working with the boys, why not use her to draw them out or trap them?
Homelander is power-crazed and not exactly the greatest strategist in the world. It totally fits his character to be using his position to bully Starlight into confessing.
She didn't know.
Well, she stinks of adrenaline and her heart's beating like a little rabbit.
No Captain Murder Boner.
Discount Jeremy says boner.
Oh no, you don't stir, you fold. Like this.
Backseat cooking.
Pointing things out on the screen.
I don't think I can do this anymore.
I know the power of a recently relieved boner can provide a certain amount of love fog, but does Huey really think he can walk away from this? He pulled the trigger on Translucent's last colonoscopy, is one of the few people who know about Compound V, and is now expecting to start a life, not just with the soup, but a member of the Seven. He's so deep in this, the only way he walks away is if DC buys the rights to the comics and James Gunn retroactively unfucks his life in the Flashpoint movie.
Discount Jeremy says boner. Also, Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche. Also, this is 100% within Huey's character. He's still super naive.
He's fine. Remington Steele is almost on.
I know A-Train is saying this in jest.
Skip.
Place is burned, they got me.
Butcher has a camera in his apartment that's linked to his phone, and how many of those apps don't also come with some sort of alarm that tells you when someone breaks in? What's the point of only finding out after the fucking break-in has happened?
Oh wow, I was not expecting them to actually come up with a good sin in this video, but they did. Well done, guys.
Also, I'm not sure what button I'm supposed to believe Butcher pressed here, but I don't see anything on his phone that looks like a home security app.
Says he doesn't know which button Butcher pressed while showing a shot of Butcher pressing this button. As for it not looking like a home security app, this specific app is probably just unique to this universe.
Get your ass over here in 20 minutes. I'm gonna burst on like a fucking pinata.
So you're gonna blindly run around hoping you hit the target without hospitalizing too many kids in the process?
Right here, sport.
Why is A-Train wasting his super speed in this apartment? How far away could Huey's room possibly be?
What do you mean, wasting his super speed? Do you think there's a finite amount of it he can use? What the hell?
Special 2016 Comic-Con edition?
Huey still has these? Call me sentimental, but I think the discarding slash burning slash voodooing of the action figures of the person who turned my partner into chunky human chutney would happen almost immediately.
Of course, you're ignoring the fact that Huey destroyed and threw away most of his superhero merch, but simply left the house before throwing away this specific piece.
I am not leaving you with him, all right? You're just a kid. You're my kid.
Imagine having Simon f***ing Pegg in your show and you just use him to spout off repetitive dialogue like this.
I mean, someone's gotta play his dad. Seriously, this kind of critique makes no sense. Sure, he's a great actor, but the main cast is also full of great actors, and I have no idea what you wanted them to do with him.
Be alright. I got this.
You really shouldn't, Huey, but somehow you do, and I'm not buying any of it.
Hold up, did you see what he just did there? He claimed that he's not buying any of it and proceeded to cut out the entire rest of the scene where Kimiko attacks A-Train. You can't make this up. He purposefully removed the part of the scene that directly contradicts what he just said.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
Back, I said, lay back.
Okay, we'd be totally remiss if we didn't address the infamous nightmare fuel that is the Gill scene. I think I see what the show's doing, and I'm all for addressing the fact that men can be victims too, but I'm not sure I'm on board with the idea of this being some sort of karmic payback or a baby step towards a redemptive arc for the Deep. It shouldn't take an eye for an eye situation for him to realize that what he did to Starlight and who knows how many other women was wrong. Either way, here's a sin for just being gratuitously fucking gross.
Alright, so you're correct that it shouldn't take an eye for an eye situation for him to realize his ways are wrong, but the unfortunate truth is that a lot of guys would never realize it without that. Not everyone is a good person. Besides, this scene isn't simply to point out how men can be victims, it actually demonstrates a very important piece of the Deep's character. He's insecure, both about his power and the physical effect it's had on his body. Now, if you don't enjoy this scene for how disgusting it is, that's fine. It is pretty damn uncomfortable, so I'm not going to remove or add any sins.
Looks like Butcher recently graduated from the Michael Myers School of Chasing Your Victims.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture reference that isn't a sin of the episode cliche.
Mesmer gets pulled to his feet by a broken wrist and doesn't scream, "Ow, that's my broken f***ing wrist, you f***ing dunderschmuck."
Yeah, he's got a pissed off AMR right in front of him. He's not worried about his wrist.
Now, we don't know the circumstances of how Becca left that office, but it does seem strange that Homelander wouldn't think that her leaving in this state wouldn't look suspicious to the camera that he must know is there. Okay, maybe we can chalk this up to Homelander is reckless and so powerful that he doesn't give a shit, but that just makes me question why he cares about anything at all.
He cares about certain things, like his fame, success, and reputation. He doesn't care about the mud people, which Becca is, and he also knows that, even if someone reported the camera footage to Stillwell, she would just cover it up. I mean, that's what they've already done with the Deep. So why don't you think that same thing would apply to an even more popular hero?
Oh wait, no, not that one. This one. Yeah, that's my guy.
Because f*** all these other lobsters that apparently don't deserve to live.
Kevin had a conversation with that specific lobster, which is why he wanted to save him specifically. I get that this sin was probably meant as a joke or something, but it wasn't funny.
You can call me Uncle Billy.
Asking a kid to call you uncle when you are not in fact their uncle.
Pointing things out on the screen.
Don't say sorry, no. Look at you, standing up for yourself.
And murdering people. Don't forget the murdering part, Hugh Sr.
Okay, so what's the sin? Sorry, I'm just expecting him to say something that's either funny or critical, which he hasn't done so far.
So what are these, pets?
No, just breeding them. I try not to get too attached to my subjects.
Also, owning dogs for the sole purpose of breeding them. You're one step away from a puppy mill, sir, and that's getting you all the f***ing sins.
But it's also perfectly realistic, seeing as people do this in real life. So why is it a sin?
You want to know about Rebecca Butcher? You went to Stillwell about her because you knew that'd tip over the first domino. Well, it led to me.
Are we missing a f***ing scene here? How did Homelander get from Stillwell to Vogelbaum? What f***ing domino? Did he listen in on Stillwell warning him? Why would Homelander assume that Vogelbaum had anything to do with Rebecca based on what was said with Stillwell? At this point, he has no idea that she was pregnant. She's just a missing person.
Homelander wants to know what happened with Becca because of Butcher's involvement. When he asked Stillwell about her, a scene which you suspiciously cut from the video, she told him that she didn't know what happened and she just assumed Becca quit, which Homelander wasn't really buying. He came to Vogelbaum because of his suspicions, seeing as Vogelbaum was essentially in charge of a bunch of soup-related incidents back in the day, and was also the person who, for lack of a better word, raised Homelander. It all makes total sense.
No, Homelander, we had a deal. Everyone else is fair game.
I still don't understand how not going after Homelander is going to make a f***ing difference. Do they really believe that Homelander will happily sit back as the mud people go after all of Vought and every other soup? If they're that afraid of Homelander, they should also be afraid of Vought.
Jesus Christ, dude. Vought is a company that can be taken down. Homelander is an individual who can't be taken down. The government wants to dismantle Vought's power, which would in turn keep soups out of the military.
Annie, are you okay?
Nope, not doing it. Not even tempted. Not at all. I'm not falling for that totally transparent setup. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
For the last half-century, you have been feeding the American people the line that your superheroes are chosen by God.
And no one in the world thought it was at all odd that God was only choosing to bless American babies with the gift of superpowers? No one in the entire world thought that that was unlikely. They all bought the, yeah, God did it, f***ing weird, I know, but there we go, line.
Only religious people would have taken the part about God doing it as a fact. The rest of the world would have been stuck with the conclusion that the soups were simply born with powers for an unknown reason. Sure, a lot of people would have undoubtedly been curious and even suspicious maybe, but without proof of anything, what could they have done?
Someone tell me what the hell's going on.
Watch. Just wait. Watch this.
Instead of just giving his boss the very urgent headline, this asshole will slowball the information and make her ask another 3 times as if he knows he's building to a big reveal at the end of an episode of television.
Dude, he wants his boss to see the footage for herself because that will give her the information firsthand and allow her to come to her own conclusion without the information being spun in someone else's way first. It makes total sense.
You haven't been using me to get back at A-Train.
No! The answer is no, of course. I haven't, Annie. Yes, I bugged your phone, but I really like you, and here's why I'm trying to take down Vought. Huey does nothing to help himself here, and maybe that's because he's overwhelmed with guilt and he knows this isn't the whole truth and just lets this question hang so the show can have some more conflict. Huey has nothing to lose here and should immediately be telling her all about Vought and Compound V.
Like you said, he's overwhelmed with guilt and is also having a very honest inner debate about it. He's confused. He likes Annie, but also knows who she works for and what he himself has been trying to do. For his character, this makes sense.
Didn't ask for your help. Yeah, looked like you had it all under control.
Actually, it kinda did. He was just explaining to Starlight why she can't trust Vought and should trust him. However, I imagine what little credibility Huey had might be undermined now that he's running away from her with the man who shot her. Why doesn't he stay with Annie to prove that he's on her side?
Because he panicked and went with the guy who he can hide out with easier? How do you not understand this?
Vacation! Happy birthday, Jesus! 7 major milk and 6 major milk and 5 major milk.